Here's an easy and quick recipe I use for white bread. In 90 minutes, you'll have freshly baked bread that's soft and delicious. These are the ingredients I use. In this video, I double the recipe in order to make 4 loaves of bread. The first thing I do is to heat the water on the stove or in the microwave until it's warm to touch, or its temperature is about 120 to 130 degrees Fahrenheit. Then I mix 4 cups of flour, sugar, yeast, and salt in a large mixer bowl. I then add the warm water and oil to the flour and mix it until combined. I scrape the side of the bowl occasionally to ensure that the mixture is blended well. Then I add the remaining flour, 1 cup at a time, until I see that the dough is not so sticky to the touch anymore and has left the side of the bowl during the mixing process. After this, I knead the dough in the mixer for 10 to 15 minutes until it's smooth and elastic. If you do a lot of bread baking, or if you have a big family who loves bread, I highly recommend investing on a stand mixer. The amount of money you'll save baking your family's bread will eventually pay for the mixer. After kneading the dough, I cover it with a damp cloth or plastic wrap and let it rest for 10 minutes. It is during this time that I grease my bread pans. After the dough has rested, I weigh it on a kitchen scale, write down the number and divide it into 4. Then I degas the dough gently, then divide it into 4 portions. I use the scale again to make sure I portion them equally. Doing this not only helps make the bread look nicer, but also ensures even baking in the oven. Working with the dough one at a time, I flatten it to an 11 by 8 inch rectangle with my hands, punching and pressing it gently to pop any air bubbles. Then, I roll it tightly starting from the side closest to me. With the sides of my hands, I make sure that the dough doesn't spread too long. Next step is to pinch the seams and sides of the loaf. To release any bubbles that may be trapped inside, I slam the loaf a couple of times on the work surface. Then I transfer it in the greased pan. The same process is repeated to the rest of the dough. I then cover the pans with a damp cloth or plastic wrap and let the dough rise to about 1 inch from the top of the pan. This takes about 30 minutes. During this time, I preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and prepare my next batch of 4 loaves of bread dough. Although my mixer has 14 loaves maximum capacity, I only do 4 loaves at a time since that's the max I can fit in my oven. After the loaves of bread dough have risen, I make 4 1/4 inch deep diagonal slashes on top using a razor, then bake them in the oven for 20 minutes. I switch the positions of the pans around to ensure even baking, then bake the bread for another 10 minutes. Afterwards, I take them out of the pans and cool them completely on cooling racks before slicing or storing. With this easy recipe, every week I can bake 8 loaves of bread that's great for sandwiches and toast.